Hi, my name is Bree, and I'm a Touro University Worldwide alumna. I'm going to be sharing my experience at Touro University Worldwide, and I will be referring to it from now on as TUW. And this was written back when I was still in the master's program for marriage and family therapy. If you're interested in an updated experience now that I've graduated and hindsight is 2020, please let me know in the comments and I can make an updated blog or video post or both. So yeah, I will get into it starting with the format of the program. So my experience with TUW's program overall has been fantastic. One of the things I love about TUW is their format. All of the non-practicum courses are asynchronous, and the synchronous courses further into the program are only once a week for 2 hours. There's no tests with the exception of the capstone course as part of the MFT licensure track, where you'll complete practice exams for licensure. However, the program is writing intensive, and I can see how people who dislike and or struggle with writing will probably not like this program very much. There are multiple discussion posts you have to write every week, 4 per class. Assuming you're going in sequential order, the classes you take at the very beginning of the program have a minimum word count for the discussion posts. For the most part, though, as long as you answer the questions, use APA formatting, reference the readings assigned for the week, and meet the word count if there is one, you'll be fine. Every now and again, some professors may still ask for work that's a little more in depth, though, so keep that in mind. Aside from that, there are essays due every 4 weeks. The midterm essay, known as the case assignment, is shorter and is usually a minimum of 4 or 5 pages. Essays during finals, which are the signature assignments, typically need to be at least 8 pages. For the first couple of classes in sequential order, there's also an additional component to the paper. This may change over time, but for one course, I had to do a PowerPoint presentation with a voiceover, and for the other class, I had to do a mock therapy session. So here's a rough estimate of the time commitment. On weeks where no case or signature assignment is due, I spend about 15 hours a week getting everything done and getting a tiny bit ahead for the next week. I try to do about 3 hours of school work Monday through Friday, which is why I know that. You can spend more or less time depending on what your goals are, how quickly you work, etc. For reference, I tend to read most, if not all, the materials assigned for each week and take notes at a rate of about 10 pages an hour. It's likely you don't need to put in as much time and or effort, but that's just personally what I've been doing. That's what's worked for me. So some of the pros and cons and what you're really paying for. It does seem pretty easy to get A's in the program, at least in my experience. But at the same time, I still feel like I'm getting a quality education, at least in terms of the information that I'm learning. Some students, however, have mentioned they felt a lot of the information is outdated. I've seen material that goes back to the 90s and very early 2000s. So if you want a university with more recent or progressive material, this may not be the place for you. This is very much a teach yourself environment. I don't mind that at all, but I recognize that generally for a lot of people, that's one of the cons of an online education. There's a lot of readings, and sometimes there are links to YouTube videos, and that is essentially what you're paying for. And I mean, of course, the piece of paper at the end, but I mean, it's no classroom experience that you would get traditionally. So, unfortunately, there's also not much help with finding practicum sites, and the whole practicum search is a little confusing and intimidating. TEW seems to have some of the most rigorous requirements for graduation, which makes it difficult to find sites that get us what we need in order to graduate. TEW does host a Zoom meeting going over some practicum information once per term and provides us with a list of practicum sites, but in my experience, that is the extent of the support from them. So why have I continued to stay enrolled? I would say that one of my main reasons for staying enrolled, regardless of the cons that I've listed, is because flexibility is incredibly important to me. Also, I didn't really care for lectures in undergrad and can't imagine that that has changed. Additionally, the school doesn't seem to have an awful reputation like some of the other online programs I've come across. Moreover, at the end of the day, I'll be able to get licensed as an MFT from an accredited program. The program, like a lot of things in life, is what you make of it.